Hey everyone, how you doing? My name is Barry Gaines, the owner and operator of Gaines Entertainment and the director, writer, producer, editor, and choreographer of the series A World of Worlds that's on Amazon and Google Play, by the way. So you can check the 4 episodes out. And season 2 is on its way. It's on hiatus now, but it's on its way. But enough about me. Let's get to who really needs to be introduced. My man, Demetrius Witherspoon, the creator of Echo 51 and what is it, Demetrius? What's the name of the whole series?
The Submerge universe.
There you go, Submerge. I let him say his own title. Let him talk about it.
They came without warning.
Oh my god! All citizens must escape to the nearest halo pad.
But she survived.
What are you?
Prepare to get submerged. Submerge. Echo 51.
All right, so first of all, Demetrius, thank you so much for being with me tonight. This is my first interview here doing the Sci-Fi Action Creators Lounge, and I just very grateful for you to be my first guest in this new series that I'm trying to pull off here, and I'm here to talk to sci-fi action creators, people who actually make these crazy worlds, these crazy scenes that we all love to visit anytime we can or anytime we turn on the TV. And I just want people to understand and just appreciate what we do, because it's a different lifestyle, it's a different way of directing, it's a different way of writing, and it takes a lot of work. Not saying the others don't, but our world is a little different. So I want to get right into it. First of all, those who don't know you, introduce yourself for everybody and all of the work that you've done.
Well, first of all, Barry, I want to thank you for having me on. You know, this is a privilege. Long-time listener, first-time interviewed here. I am the writer and director of the Submerge Sci-Fi series.
Mhm.
I'm the owner of DV Entertainment Pictures, and we're just creating a franchise with the Submerge universe series. And so I started out into music and doing R&B and pop, and I shot my first few videos, and I was like, you know what, this is what I want to do for the rest of my life. It fit like a glove.
Right.
So that's when I got into, actually right after that was like, I asked the actress that was in the video, I was like, do you want to do a sci-fi film with me? And I started the process of writing Submerge, the Chronicles of Nari. That was the first one. And now we have 5 films and going on to a feature film also.
That's a lot of work. I mean, that's a lot, but that's good to hear, man. That is awesome to hear. Now, what I want to know too is, and I know a lot of people will love to know, how did you start? Like, how did you even get in? Like, was it always something you wanted to do, to be in sci-fi action movie stuff or write, or how did it all come about? Like, how old were you?
I would say even in high school and stuff, I always liked to write stories and scripts. But you know, back in the day, a lot of us didn't even have the technology or, you know, the platform to be able to do that. And I come from a little small town in Kentucky. So it wasn't until I got to Indianapolis and was able to expand on what I do and like to do, that I was able to get into film. But I always loved doing it. We grew up on watching movies and westerns and all different types, you know, Star Wars, Superman, all that, you know, really inspired me as a kid. And so creating stories is something I always would do. And so it wasn't until I really start to dig in and start to write this about Submerge, which was actually inspired by a homeless lady that I would pass every now and then and help out if I could. She would stand on the corner asking for money, and I was like, what it took for her to be in that situation, and what if she got thrown into a multi-universe and had to find her way out and find her child, and that just kind of started that process.
Oh, interesting. It's interesting where the inspiration comes from. He's an homeless person, right? Wow.
Yeah.
Interesting. And so from then on, you just started to start creating the world Submerge, like just started to kind of add the characters and.
Yeah, it truly was a learning experience. I started writing, and then right off the bat, I got into a film festival because they was like, that's what you need to do. I didn't know nothing about everything else, the film festivals, all that. That was just, people were just like, I was just going in, especially because I come from the music thing. I always be prepared to have my cards, DVDs if I had to have them on me, and these filmmakers looking at me like, who is this guy? Bad or good, you was gonna get submerged.
You're gonna get submerged.
Yeah, man. So showed up, and one of the big conventions that we have here is Gen Con, which is a gaming convention, more board game than anything, but they have a film festival. And before the corona, have over 70,000 people that come through, and so it's a pretty big film festival. So the coordinator over that was going to be at this film festival when he's seen Submerge, and he brought it into the film festival. And so without this year, we've been there for the last 6 years, and that really helped me to start working on world building. I didn't know anything about that. I just was just inspired by Star Wars and all that. I just started writing, and it's like, okay, this is what I do, and go out and do it. And then starting to talk to cosplayers, and even with gaming and stuff, that's world building, and that, it was, my eyes just lit up, and it's like, okay, this is where I need to start heading, and really start focusing on, when I'm writing my characters, this is going to happen along down the way. And then also thinking about the marketing piece of how I'm going to market that character. I'm thinking in that way too.
Yeah, because you have a lot of characters in your story. They all come from different places or whatever, and they all kind of come. Which is nice about the story is that although they're all over the place, they all come together. There's a moment where they're eventually going to, meet.
Yeah.
And then the drama happens and things start to happen. And then of course the introduction of new characters, which is nice because the way you introduce some of your characters too is that you don't let too much out the bag. You kind of let the actor kind of express who they are, and then let the audience kind of feed off it and see where it's going, instead of just kind of spoon feeding the audience, so they at least have something else to look forward to when they see the character again. So those little moments of writing and stuff really, really helps, and I really appreciate that too. And and two, with that storyline that you made up, you have, how many episodes you have right now?
We're editing the 5th one right now, so it'll be the 5 films. Yeah.
The 5 films, okay. So the first season, so people at least know more of a generalization of like what it's about. So, instead of giving it away, what else is it about besides the woman, trying to find her child in another world?
Okay. Well, what it is there is a enemy called the Craig Empire, and they are dominating different worlds, and on Earth they really don't know about the Craig Empire yet. Not everybody, except the secret agency, and so from there they're doing experiments on different species and things like that. And so Nari has to figure all this out. And like I said, like find her daughter and things like that. And so the first three movies have that arc about Nairi. And then when we went to the fourth one, I was like, I want to go further out in space. And I tell you what inspired that, because I mean, it's not like I've sat down and wrote a big Bible yet. I'm still working on that, but there's different things that has inspired, and I was like, oh, this is where I need to go. So what inspired me to go a little bit further with these aliens is one of my visual effects guys in the third movie. He's like, okay, I can have some, I'm supposed to have some nanites in there. He said, well, I can have the nanites go in and change, her body from the inside, the cells and stuff. I was like, wait, that's it. That's why there's so much secrecy, because of these aliens doing this thing. And so that expanded. I went outside of just dealing with Earth, but expanding with other universes. And that's when everything started to click.
Yeah,
even more.
That's a lot. Yeah. I mean, that's what I'm saying. It's just great to hear these things, because I don't know anything about this world. We have to go see it to find out about a new world, which is great about sci-fi films. So tell me, but as you create these new storylines, do you find yourself doing certain things to get inspiration, or do you feed from whatever you have and then go out? I mean, is it a combination? Like, where do you find when you sit back and say, okay, I need this to kind of go this direction? What kind of gets you going? What's your secret sauce?
I go to Netflix and I start watching old school shows. Yeah. So the Twilight Zone, I love the Twilight Zone, because every episode is not the same and they have different stories.
Right. Hey,
and how much they got done without a bunch of visual effects. It was about the story. And so key things in that inspires me. I go back and watch Star Wars because it's really a super story, and I've learned about not only multimedia, but transmedia and how it differs, not only having a big story, but then it goes into other things, games and books and things like that. But anyway, so going back to old school shows that I liked, Battlestar Galactica, the original, all of that, those things inspire me. So I'll take a week or whatever, look at those, and because those are about the story, and then the visual effects comes later. And so different things like that, and then also music. I can write and just listen to different scores from different films, my own or other films, and just it inspires me.
No, that's good. Now getting inspiration, which is really sometimes the hardest thing to find, right? As creators, sometimes you just get stuck. And you I know this, I know I got to go, but I can't find it. Do you find inspiration in music too? I mean, since you're a music guy, originally, just like me, I'm a music guy too at first. I mean, I worked for Virgin, I worked for Warner Brothers, I had a hip hop group. And so I come from the world of music myself. And I find inspiration in music. Do you find inspiration in music as well, along with everything else?
Yeah, I do. And it's not, for me, it's not hip hop or anything like that. I mean, I DJ too, so I listen to everything. But sometimes, I listen to music and it inspires me. It's like, man, I can see a scene happening with whatever they're talking about or the way they create their music. And so sometimes that filters into what I'm creating too.
And you've been doing it for what, 4 years now? Oh, no, I'm sorry, 6 years.
It's going on 7 years now.
Going 7 years with this, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Where,
Yeah.
where do you see, like, you're on episode 5 now, and
Yeah.
where do you see yourself going with the story? Do you want to go to say episode 5 and then stop and do something else, or are you just trying to say, hey, listen, I'm going to ride till the wheels fall off? I mean, you know what I'm saying? When you, what's your plan for, like? Because I'm quite sure, you have your fans out there. People want you to keep going, like any Star Wars fan or any Sci-Fi fan. They don't want you to stop. You know, do you see yourself like saying, okay, we're going to stop, or you say, you know what, I'm just going to keep at it, man?
Well, yeah, I'm gonna go until the wheels fall off. You know, because for me, it's not about the money. I enjoy writing it from the beginning, writing to you know, getting distribution, all of that, scoring, the whole process. Other than editing kind of gets me, but I love the whole process. So yeah, man. Woo. So yeah, after 5, we're leading into, I was going to do a feature film, Submerge, Galaxy of Subversion, but looking at the way things are going, and this really with this pandemic that has happened has really showed that we need our people are looking for content, and it's not so much about a movie. If I can expand it out and make a short series out of it, then that will be, you know, better for streaming purposes, because that's where we are right now. Just look, the theater has failed, went under, and what's booming right now, you know? So you know, I was thinking this way before that, because I had got wind that it was another guy. He had a movie, a Christian movie that was going to Lionsgate, and then he's like, well, what if I made it and chopped it up into a series? And they gave him more money to do that. And so so getting that kind of knowledge, that's what I started looking at. I was like, okay, you know, we'll make a 5-part series out of the script, and then we'll be able to you know, present it as a season. And so that's what I'm gonna do. And so we've been getting the actors, you know, from all over the place. They're still, you know, auditioning and having people come on board.
Well, tell me this: what do you find? What's the most challenging about doing like a sci-fi action as opposed to another film? What do you find the most challenging when it comes to that? Because both, of course, any genre has its issues, has its, you know, its problems, and it's, you know, how things can really kind of, you know, take a lot out of you. But as doing this, what do you find very challenging?
I think, you know, I try to write without thinking about, oh, how I'm gonna do this visual effects, how I'm gonna do all that. Excuse me, sorry. And so I think my challenge is like how I'm gonna pull that off, you know, because your visual effects have to be good as possible. It is sci-fi, and you know, I've been fortunate to surround myself with people that know more than I do, and that's very much key. So my makeup artists, we continue to work together, and then my visual effects guys, and everybody. So creating that team, and so those are the challenges. How I'm gonna pull this off, you know, and get the money to pull it off, because not all the time do I have the money to do it. And so we try to raise what we can, but it's a lot of hard work with everybody, you know, as much as possible helping out.
No, that's yeah, it is. I can see that. Now, do you do most of what do you do in the story? Do you do, I know you write it, obviously, and I know you direct it, right? The episodes. What else do you find you do? I mean, I know you have a lot of hats. Do you find it more fulfilling doing more hats than less hats?
Echo 51 was my first time not editing, not visual effects, not scoring, all of that. And it was kind of hard to let go, but the final baby that we got was just beautiful, and everybody really put their best foot forward to make that happen. And so, I'm thankful for that. So it made it easier for me to market, because right now I'm editing and I'm marketing at the same time, and so that takes a lot, and when you don't have somebody on a payroll or anything to help with some of the paperwork and things that have to be done, it's all you. And so sometimes you got to pick yourself up and keep moving,
That's right. And as indie filmmakers, we all understand how we have to have a lot of hats before we can get to that place where we can get the help that we do need. But I know I find it very fulfilling because it's knowledge that I otherwise would not get. At least then when I do get someone to take those roles over, I'm personally familiar with what they're doing. And if from there can actually help things move along. So, so what you're doing is great. I mean, and now for those out there who's thinking, they're probably thinking like, man, Demetrius probably started, he had his money together, he had the people, this boy got some money. Now, tell them that, now, did you have money doing this, or did you just get a camera and went on it? I mean, how did you even fund this? How did it work?
Oh man, there was a lot of homemade meals being done, and
Right.
just Goodwill is my friend, so yeah, it was all out of pocket, and but just doing work with what you got. So parks are free, and then when everybody see you working really hard, they're going to come on board and say, hey, well, you know what, so-and-so got this, or I seen this over here, go check that out. And so that's really helped me with the crew and the cast that I've had. It's really a team effort, and I do want to say that going back to having help, Mary Carlton, it was my project manager since Echo 51. And so she's been phenomenal helping me out, and people got a life too, and so that factors in too, but that helps to have somebody to be able to do that. But not having a lot of money and using what I had in front of me, like a lot of the material, I had the cast come in with black, whatever they had black, and then I went through my mother's material, found red, just rolls of material. It's like, okay, cut that, we'll put this over here, just stuff like that.
Just working it out, right?
Yeah. And eventually I started to learn Facebook a little bit more. Like, okay, so I started signing up with all the modeling pages, and then I finally found filmmakers pages, and that really started to set the bar, because I can go on those modeling pages, look for. I started to see how they would trade for work, trade for different things, and so I needed makeup artists. So I would say, hey, I don't have any money, but I need a makeup artist, to try to do this when I was starting out.
So you cast everybody pretty much, right? Like when you started with everything, you went out and cast and get the crew.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, I started with a couple people I know, or then I started looking on Facebook, some of the modeling pages. I was just like, oh, he looks the part, and then put him in stuff. But I found out later that's not the best way of doing all of that. But you learn. And so actually here in Indiana, they have the IFN, which is the Indiana Filmmakers Network. And when I really joined that, I was in room a room with filmmakers and actors from all over the place. And some people had done 37 feature films, or people had just started. There's people that worked on Jurassic Park that was at this.
Wow.
And so that's when I started really networking and finding actors, and also a team. And what really helped, is going to work on their set. So I went and worked on this big set, and it was a sci-fi film, and that blew my mind. That's where I found my DP. That's where I found, a lot of people that I work with now.
Good. So you went out there, networked, but actually went into other people's sets, and
Yeah,
kind of
yeah.
started to kind of tap shoulders there.
Yeah, and really see how they worked and learned so much. We was on a secret army base. It's a training facility, but I tell you what, like, when they meet you, the armed guards have their guns and everything, but when you get on there, they have burned up cars and abandoned buildings and a place that looks like the Middle East, and they have camels and goats you can rent out to do this thing. And so we were really in it, and it just really I was super excited, and it really took me to that next level of learning how a team works on that level.
So you figured that since you've been on these big sets and everything else, I guess, and of course that inspires you to do your own thing, and keep going.
Mm-hmm.
Do you find like yourself wanting to do something else, or do you find yourself saying, you know what, I think I'm just going to, like I said, not just have just kind of ride this to the end, but do you find yourself like wanting to do more than just this at the same time, like doing two things at once? Do you find yourself trapped in there? Because I know I've seen sometimes some filmmakers try to do 2-3 things, and we all know it
Right.
takes just so much out of you to do one.
Right.
And to do 2 and 3, do you advise other filmmakers who are thinking about doing multiple ones? Do you advise that, or how do you look at it? Do you think it's a good idea, not a good idea? I mean, how do you see doing multiple projects? That's what I'm saying.
I would say, if you have a good team with you, then you're able to do those things. There were some things I didn't have to do, so I could focus in on this or that. It's hard to do multiple things, but some things can be done. And for me, I'm doing Submerge, and we're going to go on to the next season that I'm going to be doing. But that would be it until I do the rest. I do have like 9 other movies and spin-offs already planned out. I at least know the story of it and how it's going to arc out. So, I think about Hollywood and all that kind of stuff. Sometimes they say a movie's going to happen, and it'll be years before it happened because of timing, because of money, all of that. So I try not to put that pressure on myself, but I let people know, hey, this is not just a fly-by deal. So those things are going to happen. But I do have other stories that I wrote. They're still in a sci-fi vein, but they're not Submerge. And so I would take a break after this Galaxy of Subversion and do one of those, and then come back and do a spinoff.
Interesting. You know what? And while you're doing all this and getting everybody to work for you, what are and I know doing that, you have to have a tight crew, and you have to have a crew you can depend on. What do you look into someone to be a crew member? Like when someone wants to be down with Submerge, want to be down with the Witherspoons, like what qualities do you say, hey, you got to have these in order if you want to hang with us?
Well, just good workers and out there just to sit on the set and eat our food. I mean, they're just there, and I've been fortunate a lot of times to find the right people where, I'm not sitting there having to worry about you. We talk, and 9 times out of 10, I'm a good judge of people. And just like Blue Star, it's just like a family. Like when you see people come together, and I let one guy come on set who wanted to do that, and he just worked out perfectly. It was like a well-oiled machine. It's like he'd been working with us forever. Those kind of things, we stay together. They add to the team, but I treat them like kings, so we all come back together to work together. But just looking for people that are, they're there for the team. They're not there for themselves. And so my thing, and me and my first assist AD is no one is bigger than the team. Nobody. I mean, I don't care how high up, what TV show they're on. No one is bigger than the team, because that creates friction. And so there's been people I had to let go, because even in rehearsal time, they looked the part, they said a few lines, but when we was doing rehearsal, I looked, it was some things that were going on. And that's like, do I want to look down when we getting awards and stuff, and I'm at the film festival, and I look down the aisle of all these talented people that put in their hard work, and I see them sitting up there getting all the glory, and they, causing problems already. Is that what I want to deal with? So I will cut it, and either I will replace that person, or if I can't do it, I will rewrite the thing. I've had to rewrite stuff that were one of my main actors that the story was going to go around. Some things happened, and there was no way that I could finish with that person. You have
to do the old soap opera deal. Now play.
Yeah. He got blown up real quick. What happened?
Like, he was different last season.
Right. I hear
you.
So yeah, you just gotta be able, as a filmmaker, take hits. Don't let it keep you down, and keep moving. They were like, "Oh, are we gonna shut down? And you got to go rewrite the script." I was like, "Look, we already rewrote the script by the time it was time to shoot again. We got all these people. It's a team, and other people have other jobs and other things. So you're trying to coordinate all that. So if one person is not, working right, the show must go on." No one's
bigger than the show. I'm there with you, man. I'm there with you. I'm the same way with my guys, and my guys know it too. So, and they look at other people who come on board the same way. Like, hey, listen, you're no bigger than anybody else. And I think that's the way you kind of keep, the right people around you. Now, if somebody, and you think about everything you just said, everything that we do at just doing a movie, period. But when it comes down to a sci-fi action film, if somebody wants to do it and not sure how to start, they may have, the hunger, but they're not sure how to start. Well, what would you tell someone that really wants to kind of get into this genre as opposed to another?
Just have patience and go to YouTube. YouTube is your friend. It's so much knowledge. If you want to learn how to do a sci-fi film or do a certain kind of effect, know that it's possible. Some way, somehow, it is possible. And if you can't do it, somebody else can for you. And I tell people that when I do seminars or panels, reach out, find different groups there and maybe nearby on Facebook that are about film, and put out there what you're trying to do. Be honest. If you have money or not, put out there, look, I'm trying to do this. Is anybody going to help me? There's always somebody out there that is like, you know what, I got a little time, I can help out with that. And so just work with what you got, and work with your house, your whatever's free. Look at Star Wars. A lot of that stuff, the very first one, that was made out of paper, and some of the props and all that kind of stuff was put together kits and things like that. So
yeah, a lot of them didn't even know how they want to do it. They were like, I have no idea how we're going to do this, but we're going to film it and work it out later.
Right. So look at those documentaries and stuff. When I get DVDs and Blu-rays, I'm more excited about the behind the scenes than the movie itself, because that's my school. Because you'll find so many directors, they're dealing exactly with what you got. They just have a little bit more money, but they're dealing with the same thing. Right. And some things. So so use what as a starting out, use what you got. Write a simple story if you can. It's hard to do sometimes, but use what you have available, and use those different groups and outlets, because they're there on Facebook and the internet.
No, that's good. That's good to know, because a lot of people I know, when I started, I didn't know like how to start. Although I started when I was young, but we just we didn't know what we were doing. I mean, we were walking around like with a camera shooting stuff. We didn't know how to frame, we didn't do anything, but we're doing something, But that's good to know, and that's good people to hear, because not everybody knows how to start. They know how to start like maybe other things, but when it comes to sci-fi action, it's a little different, just because there's so much more involved. Like
with learning the green screen and how to key those and things like that, and like I have a lot of green aliens and things like that, and making sure people don't, I have to have a blue screen instead of that. I had one little girl. We had the blue screen. She was green, but her jacket was blue, and I didn't think nothing of it until the editor got in there. He's like, yeah, and he was so good, Joel. He fixed it, and so he got it to work somehow.
All right. Well, before I let you go, okay. I want to say this. I want to ask you this. All right, tell me do's and don'ts. Number one, do one of these types of films. Tell me what a do is and a don't. So what? Just start with the don't. Like, don't do this. What would you recommend?
Don't write outside your means of what you can do. Use what you have available. House, garage, parts, all that stuff is free and goodwill. So don't, when you're starting out, use what you have available.
Right. So what's what should they do? If anyone wants to go into sci-fi action realm and be a sci-fi action director, creator, writer, what one thing they should do as part of this genre?
Just do you, because your story, it might have some of the same tropes as different things, but do your story, because people need your story. Not everybody's story is going to be the same. And so just do that, and surround yourself with people that know more than you. That's very important.
That's a very good one too. That's right. That's a big deal. Be around people who know more than you, who can teach you what to do as you grow. Who's there to support you, but also kind of guide you when you get stuck. And I think something like that never ends. We're always learning. And I think that's a really, really good, advice for anyone. Get people who know more than you and have them help you out along the way. And then you just work it out as you go along. So, but Demetrius, thanks, man. This has been a really good interview. Thank you so much for being my first guy, my first person,
I really appreciate it. And before we go, I want to give a shout out to my makeup artists, Rachel Madison, and also Julie Powers and Sonia. they've done amazing jobs on our makeup.
Good. And then where can people see Submerge? Where can they go see your film?
People can go to Amazon Prime streaming and find Submerge Echo 51. It's also on Roku. All you have to do is just search for Submerge Echo 51. It's on a few Sci-Fi channels there. And also you can go to our website, DV Entertainment Pictures, and you'll see all of our merchandise, board games, comic books, action figures, all of that.
Nice, nice.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. Listen, guys out there, you want to see Submerge, you want to see Echo 51, you want to see what happens when you just believe in what you want to do, no matter you have no money or anything, just want to get it done. Watch Submerge, watch Echo 51, and anybody out there you can get this done. Just do what Demetrius did, and just have that drive and just get it done, and you can get it done. And he's did it with nothing, and just look at it, you know, success. So thanks again, Demetrius, for being here, man. I appreciate it. And we probably will be talking again soon on another interview.
Sure. All right. Thanks, man.
All right, brother. Stay on it for a minute.